It's probably.
But it's
It's
still redeemable.
Not redeemable.
Well, I remember.
200 people, they're all redeeming.
I remember seeing people sign up for that at some option, I think it was over Fayetteville Church. You ever take somebody out on that?
Yeah, I've done a handful over the years, like,
I just thought it was hilarious because I hunt turkeys and I hunt a little bit. I've never been a coon hunt, but all my relatives talked about coon hunting.
Yeah.
And then they all listened to Jerry Flowers. So
Oh, yeah.
you gotta go.
I saw one running out of the red.
Where the red fern grows.
I'm just remembering.
About when I think about.
I know, Craig, this stuff might be helpful to you while they come.
Oh, okay.
And Jimmy asked if I would put, either service, Jimmy's the service chair, and she's working, doing service out front, right there.
Oh, good for her.
I'll sit down here, anybody we should pull another table over. Well, I'm just gonna pull up my red for you. See,
I think-
I'm not on the board.
I understand.
But I've been working with the board a lot recently.
Certainly.
As the chairman of a committee that's doing one.
That's the best position, not on the board.
I've been there, done that.
It's the same thing, Sam.
Here we go.
All right.
I should tell my journal.
Maybe.
Attendance looks like it's down today.
What does?
Attendance.
Yes, a little bit. We got the district governor in there. It's always hard to tell from this how far back the tables go and how many people are in there. There are a few seats at the front table there.
All right, the musicians are moving up there.
Welcome to the 104-year-old Rotary.
All right,
Club.
nice talking to you.
Same here,
My name is
Howard.
David Sager. I'm your president this year. And let's say the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? For music today, we have Otto and Larry.
This is the kind of song I think you can sit down over if you want to. I brought the first team as backup. I'll tell you a little bit about this song. There's two ways of looking at this song. This song is nearly 100 years old. That's the bad news. The good news, I think maybe the bad news is it was only written 15 years before Larry and I were born. So either way, anyway, this is the state song of Georgia, and there's been questions about whether this song was really written as the state song of Georgia, whether it was written for the sister of a guy who put it together, or whether it was written for a girlfriend or some such thing, which is more, the words are more like that. So anyway, it's a great song, made famous by lots of different singers, including Ray Charles and Willie Nelson. So Georgia, Georgia, oh, they stand those sweet song, keeps Georgia, my Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as the light. Goodbye. Mother, reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. The peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find. Stand old sheets so keeps Georgia on my mind. That's right for the flag. I play this.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The previous song shares one thing with this one. This song is a 1931 song. So they've both been around a while. Still, yeah, about 14 years in this case. And this is probably most recently made famous more by Willie Nelson. So, all of me, oh, I'm not take all of me. Can't you see? I'm no good without you. Take my arm. I want to lose. Well, take my lips. I've never been. Let me goodbye. Let me with eyes that cry. And you know that I know good you. Out of you. You took the part that was my heart. So why not big gold be? Here you got the song now. All the beat. Oh, I'm not take all the beat. Get to see. I'm no good without you. Take my arm. I want to live. Take my lips. I'll never you if I left me with eyes that cry. And you know that I'm no good and I'm forget my heart. So why not take all of me?
Harrison, are you my sergeant at arms, or who's my sergeant at arms? Lee is my sergeant at arms.
Members with guests. Diane Warren.
I am, first grade is looking welcome again, my husband, Ron Warren.
And visiting Rotarians, Rick McLeod, Assistant District Governor. All right, great. Okay. Let's just do it.
I got more, I got, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sharing Rotary today with a lady that I met about 25 years ago when she came to Fayetteville to practice law. She went to Madison County, set up her office there. She's been with the prosecutors now she's deputy prosecutor of Washington, Madison County. She is in the juvenile court area and she's a candidate. Really good.
Yes,
All that knows, yes. This is, Kristen Pollitt.
I I saw her sneak in.
She are in town and she is running for circuit judge. Yes.
All right, welcome, Kirsten.
John 3 is retiring, so I'm running for that. But thank you for letting me jump in.
Absolutely. Okay, so I don't have any really cute jokes, but I was gonna ask everybody. Anybody over the last week have something really exciting that has happened to them that they want to share?
Gary Barrow did.
What?
Never done this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it.
Anyone can do it. Enter something at the county fair. On the way to pecan sauce, somebody said, dared me to do it, and I won second prize and a $2 prize.
Didn't expect that one. Anybody else? Your grandbabies? Great grandbabies? New jobs? Tim? You have a new job. You can talk about it. Tell people. It's exciting.
Alright, so I started a job, it's based in Buffalo. I will only ever work remote, I prefer working home, so. Yeah, managing director of operations for a QSF, like administrator for post settlement in Mass Tort.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Please pray in your faith traditions as I pray in mine. I call this the Rotary Club prayer. Gracious God, we gather today in spirit of service and fellowship. Thank you for the opportunity to make a difference in our communities, country, and in our world. Grant us wisdom in our decisions, compassion in our actions, and integrity in all we do. Bless our efforts to bring hope where there is need, peace where there is conflict, and understanding where there is division. May our time together strengthen our bonds and renew our shared commitment to service above self. Amen.
Thank you, Lynn. All right, become a Paul Harris Fellow. It's $50 a month for less than 2 years or just $28 a month for 3 years. You can do it. Buck Cups for August. Put this down. Senior Support in Action. Kelly is on the board and would love to answer questions that you have about Senior Support in Action. In this week's newsletter, I put a hyperlink to this website and a hyperlink to the video. So if you want to just click the thing and watch and learn, that's I wanted to make it easy for you. This QR code will take you straight there. So please give generously. We've got service projects coming. I can't wait to share. In fact, I'm going to put somebody on the spot. Should I, you know what? We'll publish it. We'll put it out there. I don't want to put anybody on the spot today, but we have service projects coming. Lots of things to talk about. Announcements. And I know we're going to have some announcements, but I'm going to lead with a note that I was handed from Vicky Speranza saying, "It is with heavy heart that I tender my resignation from Rotary. I am physically unable to fulfill my responsibilities of being a good member. I will miss everyone very much, Vicky." We are going to miss her. I was missing her today, wondering where she was, and I didn't realize she'd been suffering through an injury. So think of her, and we'll want to send her a letter, or if you have, if you're so inclined to send a card, you can find her address through DACDB or call me. Okay, who else has an announcement? Bill.
On each table, I think I'm loud enough.
You're pretty loud.
On each table, there's a flyer. And it also has a QR code. It is for an organization called Real Recovery. Real Recovery is a nonprofit organization for male cancer survivors. I was a participant. Now I'm on the board. There's a local Arkansas, there are 2 chapters in Arkansas. One is here in Northwest Arkansas. What it's about is a 3-day all expense paid fly fishing trip on the Norfolk River with professional guides, one-on-one teachers to teach fly fishing. It's actually a hook because it also has a counselor a certified counselor, and there are sessions where gentlemen talk about their experience and so forth, and us guys are very bad at that. I've been involved, I'm a two-time cancer survivor, and I've been involved in several cancer survivor groups. And I've been told several times that the women are always participating and very few men do. Our fault. And so this is sort of a bribery thing, but it's wonderful. The fly fishing part can go for the rest of your life. And so information on the tables, it's once a year. And also you can go to the website, and there are other locations around the country. So Real Recovery.
Thank you, Bill. If you don't know Bill, Bill is on our Rotary Board, and he's a faithful member, and he's chair of our membership committee. And pulling Rotarians together for something like this is right down the middle of the wheelhouse of what I love seeing Bill doing. So get to know him better. He's up to good things. Now it's at this time I'd like to invite some people to the stage. Tim Holland, Chuck Culver, District Governor John Raines, for a Paul Harris Fellow presentation.
Thank you for joining, and it's my honor today to be part of a presentation for a Rotary's highest recognitions, the Paul Harris Fellow, named after Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary. This honor is given to those members that have given either cash or points equivalents of $1,000. And that $1,000 goes into the Rotary Foundation and becomes a conduit and an activator for doing good across the world. Peace, hope, fellowship, healing, and children's visioning. So we thank you very much for participating and reaching this level for being a Paul Harris Fellow 1. And
Chuck, would you hand him the?
we're going to present him his certificate at this point.
Congratulations, Tim. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, John. Thank you. All right, so at this time, I would like to invite Rick McLeod to the stage. Rick is an old friend of mine. We were business colleagues some 25 years ago, if you can believe that. And he was a mentor to me, and I'm so appreciative. Wish it had turned out better for your mentoree, but let me tell you about Rick. He's a native to Northwest Arkansas, married to, I can attest, his better half, Naomi. They have 5 children, 6 grandchildren. Well, that's new since we talked. He's a veteran of the U.S. Army. He owns an insurance agency in Rogers. He joined Rotary in 2001. He's been a member of 2 clubs, the Rotary Club of Rogers, where he served as president in 2008 and 2009. Is a charter member of the Rotary Club of Downtown Rogers, where he served again as president 2024-25. You've held several board positions in both clubs. You're now assistant governor in District 6110. Rick and Naomi enjoy family, friends, riding motorcycles all across the country in your free time. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, David. Yeah, it is true. I think we were only about 5 or 6 years old when we started working together about 20 years ago. Good Lord. Yeah. All right. We've aged considerably since then, John. All right. So it's my pleasure to introduce your district governor, John Raines. John hails from Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and he spent his life in green country. So basically the state's version of home sweet home. He's a Sapulpa High School graduate and attended the University of Oklahoma, Tulsa Junior College, and the University of Tulsa, where he obtained a bachelor's in management information systems. He kicked off his career as a systems analyst at ConocoPhillips, then teamed up with a Rotary buddy, Eric Ortega, to become VP of Sales and part owner of Austral Inc., an IT firm. He even worked at IMAX, sadly not the movie theater, as we pointed out several, where he rose from director to president. Now he's a realtor with HomeSmart and manages Tulsa Rentals because why not stay busy? Rotary veteran of 25 years, John's been in 2 clubs, first Sapulpa, then Tulsa, as he said earlier. He's won Rotarian of the Year, was club president, and snagged the prestigious James G. Syed Service Above Self Award. He and his and wife Kathy, his wife of 26 years, are level 4 Bequest Society members and major donors, so they're serious about giving back. They've raised 5 kids, hosted 3 international exchange students, and now, as empty nesters, they've adopted the RV lifestyle because why stay put in one place? Their secret to happiness, faith, community, and a love for fun. John's also the king of playful mishaps. He's got scars to prove it, ruptured his spleen sledding, yes, sledding, threw out his back pitching, trying to press scouts, and pulled a groin racing Kathy at a school fundraising event where I think you said you lost, right? When I say, yeah. Recently, he tweaked his back at a Top Golf deal at the Rotary District Conference and cramped during the putt-putt for polio, which I think was just an excuse for doing poorly. But if there's a game, he's in it. Just make sure the ER is nearby. Would you please stand and help me welcome John Raines?
As you can tell, that first injury was when I was in high school, and they constantly get worse, but less injuries. The body has a way of rebelling on you. This is the second time I've been in a singing club, and I mentioned to the group over here that the first time it harkened me back to a memory of a movie I had seen, an old John Wayne movie called Red River. It happened again today. The first song that you sang was Georgia on My Mind, written by Hoagie Carmichael. He is in one of my favorite movies, which is To Have and Have Not with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. So here we go again. I may end up being a club singer after all. Well, I'm blessed to be here, happy to be here, proud to be here, honored to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me have the stage. Talked in my bio a little bit about being a member or 2 clubs. And I wanted to talk to you about invite. So I was invited into Rotary by a business partner that he mentioned. He had been in business a little bit and had joined a Rotary club, and he asked me, would I join a Rotary club? And I said, spell Rotary. So I didn't know anything about it. And I said, well, I don't have my business cards yet. You know, what do I do? Go around, give everybody a business card and shake their hand, say I'm in IT. He said, no, oh Lord, no, don't do that. They'll throw you out. I said, okay. He said, just serve. Just get to know people. It'll happen. So that was my first invite. I didn't join immediately. I had a second invite, and it reminded me of Chuck and Tim. We were going to dinner, Kathy and I, we were dating, and at dinner, there was something that her father saw in our eyes that made him think this is kind of getting serious. So after dinner, he politely pulled me off to the side, and he said, it looks like you and Kathy are making goo-goo eyes at each other. And I said, well, yes, sir. He said, are you getting serious? And I said, I am, sir. He said, well, I got to let you know, if you're going to get serious, you're going to have to join Rotary. You see, her father-in-law was a member of the Sapulpa Club, a long-term Rotarian, an attorney, and he had a passion for Rotary, and he knew that if I was connected to Rotary, I'd be a better husband, and he was right. So I immediately joined Rotary at that point. So that's kind of the invite story, but the rest of the story for me is the journey of Rotary. So being a governor is about a 2.5-year run-up, and you get inundated with tools and techniques and strategies and videos and Zooms and trainings and blah, blah, blah. And you look up, and if you're not careful, you can kind of get busy. And when you get busy, you get a little bit lost. I don't know if anybody in here has been busy at Rotary, but when you get busy, you lose your perspective of what you're actually trying to do. That tool becomes more of a weapon than an asset. So I went through that journey, and I was trying to break myself out of that. And I said, what brought me into Rotary and what kept me into Rotary? And I came back to 2 things. And one was fellowship, and the other was service. Fellowship service. International Assembly brings in all the district governors from around the world, 532 governors from my class. They don't talk alike, they don't dress alike, they don't eat alike, they come from different cultures, but they're all the same in that they're born within Rotary's service and fellowship. So at that point, the international president announces a theme, and he said, we're going to get back to the basics. I perk up a little bit. And this year's theme is Unite for Good. Fellowship, service, unite for good. And I was locked and loaded at that point and knew that I had a heart to come to clubs and talk to you about the beauty of Rotary and the basics of Rotary, which is genuine fellowship, coming together for lunch, seeing your friends. And then it's also impactful service, where you're out in the community and you're making an impact. So that was my journey there. And I want to talk to you a little bit about impact and about unity. So Unite for Good, in my opinion, there's three ways we have to unite, that we need to unite. And the first, especially with what's happened the last 5 years, is we need to unite with ourselves sometimes. We may be a little broken. We may be a little bit out of sorts. We've been carved away from some of our relationships. We've lost friends. So healing ourselves is a really big component for me of uniting. Then we have uniting with each other, which is this right here. This is amazing. I saw on your schedule, you did a club assembly. That's a great way to unite. Surveying, listening, board members, vocational talks. We need to get to know each other at a much deeper level and unite a great bond that we have. And then the third component is uniting with others. And that's where you're actually reaching out into the community, or you're reaching out to other clubs, and you're partnering with service projects or fundraisers or social events. And that creates a deeper unity between the club members and the community. And then also taking advantage of all the privileges that we have as Rotarians to unite with our district events, zone events, which are fantastic, and a Rotary International Convention, which will change a Rotarian's life if they attend. That is uniting with others. And that sets us up for good. So unite for good. The for good is service. Service is a critical component of your Rotary experience. We serve at many different levels. So that service engages us with the community, but more importantly, I think, it engages us with ourselves. You know, we talked earlier today about we're going to do more service projects. And I'm applauding that decision because it's that service project that connects you with others, like we said, uniting. But you never know the spark that will be lit in a Rotarian through a service project. I'm a person passionate for youth projects. You put a youth project in front of me and I'm in. And I'll tell you why. For about 10 years, I was a really good Rotarian. I did all of this, ran AV, I served. I sat at the same table with 4 gentlemen that gave me a hard time because I was so young all the time. And I had a great time in my Rotary experience. And one day, up front like this, gentleman with the mic like we just had there, actually it was a young lady, so I won't dishonor her, that said, we have a 4-day camp coming up and we need chaperones. And I'm sitting there thinking, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I've got 5 kids, I've got a wife, I've got a full-time job that I'm the business owner of. I serve my church, I don't have time. Let that go. Next week, same young lady gets up, makes the same call. I can't do it. The next week, which was Wednesday for my club, the call was a lot different. And there are 10 young men that can't go on this service project if I can't get a male chaperone. And I need somebody to step up and do that. And I swear to you, those honorary gentlemen that I sit with, I think one of them hit me on the back of the elbow, and my arm went up, and she zeroed in on me and said, "You're in." I had not been on a service project with youth extensively to that point. And I thought I was going just to be a chaperone to help and shepherd and all this. But what happened is, after a couple of days, I saw this impact on the youth at this program. Ryla, if you know Ryla. And I saw the impact that was occurring and the changes that were occurring. But I went home Saturday night and looked in the mirror. At home isn't the bunk in the campsite. And I realized that it was me that was impacted. And that impact at that point changed me from being a good, solid Rotarian to a whole different Rotarian. A Rotarian baked in service that had that passion to make an impact and serve above self. That changed my trajectory in Rotary. So as you add these socials and service projects, they are conduits and opportunities for our members and our community to be impacted. And you never know. Mine was youth. Yours is music. You never know the passion that you can connect to. It could be vocational. I always applaud the secretaries and treasurers in the club. They're amazing. And just serving the club is amazing. But getting out in the community and making an impact, and then having the opportunity to have a fellow Rotarian walking with you having an impact as well. I had a conversation just here about polio, and one of the things mentioned is we've been saying we're this close for a long time. This is a service project that's international, and we're this close for a long time. At International Convention this year, they talked about polio. And as we know, and maybe not, if you've watched a video or if you've been on an immunization trip, they take a baby, lean its head back, and they put 2 drops on that baby's tongue. And when they put those 2 drops on that baby's tongue, they change its life. The impact is enormous, not just on that child that may live now and not die, won't be disfigured, and the family that has to take care of that child is blessed as well. So Rotary is saying we've got to finish this job. We made a commitment and a promise to the children of the world to end polio. So instead of being this close, we have to have the tenacity to go to the last drop. So I would ask you, no more of this. Let's go to the last drop and stop polio. That is a tremendous impact. Our foundation is amazing. We leverage our foundation in so many ways at the club level. You know, we are blessed to be able to give to a foundation that turns around and gives money back. I've never heard of that. And we get to do service work in our local community. But that foundation gift also goes out in the world and creates peace, unity, hope, safety, security, and health. We also are baked in what I call our history. So we have unity, we have inviting, and we have service, but there's a component of purpose that has to glue all that together. And when I look at the purpose of Rotary, I look at the Rotary motto, and that is service above self. That one simple statement, service above self, tells us so much about our Rotary journey and the value and the blessings that we get from that Rotary connection. Above self is the core component that gives us purpose and passion as Rotarians. I also look at clubs at times and says, that applies to a club too. Serve above yourself. So there's also another core component of Rotary, the history that we stand on, and it's called our ethics. Does anybody know our ethics? The 4-way test. That is an ethics statement that was born out of vocational types of joining the club. You know, I talked to you about my father-in-law. That was a familiar invitation. It was a friend, it was family, that was this. My business partner was a vocational invite. When I'm in Rotary and I see somebody that sells insurance or somebody that teaches, or I don't care what the vocation is, that's who I'm going to lean into to perform the service for me. Because of that ethics statement, I don't have to be concerned with that Rotarian. I trust them with my family and with my services. So we also have a history within our own clubs, 105, 104 years, almost 105. I come from a 120-year club. There's a great history there. You know, we look back at history sometimes and we try to cling to that a little bit. You know, we hang on to projects that we've done for 40 years. We hang on to processes, and, you know, we're structured, and we sing and we pray and we pledge. You know, those are all good histories, but sometimes we forget of the people that we stand on in our history. They were all dreamers. They were all innovators. They were all inspiring, and they propelled Rotary to where we are now. But it would be dishonoring if we didn't look and stand on their shoulders as we look forward and dream and create. So we have a rich history that foundation for us that gives us our purpose and our passion. I heard a story the other day about the power of one, and it basically says statistically in our normal lifetimes we'll meet about 10,000 people. Some deeper, some less, but about 10,000 acquaintances that we'll come across in our lifetime, and we statistically will impact about 10 of those people. So for me or anybody here, you hope, and that's a positive impact, by the way. I've had to clarify that occasionally. That could be your children. You know, I'm halfway home, I got 5. It could be somebody that you mentored, somebody that you hugged in a heart-deep moment. It could be somebody that walked up to a food truck that you showed additional care besides handing that food to. There is an opportunity to make about 10 people an impact. If those 10 go out and impact 10, that's 100. If those 100 go out and impact 10, that's 1,000. If those 1,000 go out and impact 10, that's 10,000. And over 5 generations, that impact will roll to 800 million people. And we can look at some people that we consider famous, we know their names, that have done exactly this. And I think of Gandhi and Mother Teresa, who provided hope and comfort for the poor. And I think of Susan B. Anthony, who had a heart for suffrage. And I think of Nelson Mandela, who provided hope as well. And I look at Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, who we think were champions for civil rights, but they were champions for unity. They spoke peace and unity for all people. But I can tell you, as a Rotarian, we also have the opportunity to impact 10 people a year. Not in a lifetime, in a year. And in many cases, more than 10. So as you connect to your social and service projects, especially your service projects, you take a kid to RILA. You change that kid. You change yourself. He goes home and changes his 4 or 5 siblings. His parents are impacted. He goes to school. He starts an Interact club. He starts a speech and debate club. He gets active, and he changes the school. And then those people that are impacted go out in the world, and they start to change the world. One, change. That is a powerful opportunity that we have every year as Rotarians through our projects. Water well project, wheelchair project, project after project where we are champions of changing lives. And then we're extending our impact through our gifts, as I mentioned earlier, into global impact of peace and prosperity and hope and microloans. An amazing impact. So when I look back over 5 generations, that's about 120 years. And in Rotary, there was a gentleman 120 years ago that had an idea. He was an attorney, and he looked at a mining operator, and he looked at an engineer, and he looked at a tailor, and he said, why don't we get together every week and just kind of exchange ideas? It's hard doing business in Chicago in 1985. And that one person was Paul Harris. One person, one idea. 5 generations later, I guarantee you more than 800 million people have been impacted. We go forward about 12 more years in 1917, and there was a gentleman that saw the impact of the restroom project, the first project that was done by Rotary in Chicago, where they built restrooms, free public restrooms on the road, and said, imagine what we could do with a little funding. And with $26.50, he started the Rotary Foundation. Arch Klump created a vision, one person that changed the world. You go to 1985, 1978, actually, let's back that up. And there's a gentleman from our district, from Mountain Home, Arkansas, sitting in a boardroom, where the president of Rotary said, I'm having trouble answering the question, what does Rotary do? How does Rotary make a change in the world? And Dr. Ben Saltzman raised his hand and he said, I think I have an idea. You see, I'm a physician and I know that there's a good vaccine that eliminated polio in the United States. And I think we can take on this project across the world. And the president got excited, the board got excited, and they said, let's do a pilot project. And they went to the Philippines and immunized 6 million children and eradicated polio from the Philippines. And out of that was born Polio Plus, to the last drop. 2 years later, in 1987 through 89, there was a movement to have women join Rotary. In 1989, Rotary was opened up for women, and that cast a vision for women, young women and girls, that is changing the world now, today. We saw our first district governor that cast a vision in our district about women in leadership. And if you can imagine a woman brand new in Rotary that had just opened up to women, she was about this tall and could whoop everybody at that table. She was a force to be reckoned with, and her name was Peggy George. It took about 20 plus years later before Rotary International had their first international president in Jennifer Jones. If you've ever been to a convention, who's been to a Rotary convention? You see that they roll the names of the presidents. They start with Paul Harris, and they go all the way up. As they get closer, the pictures get a little color to them and a little more, one at a time, and you get a little bit of applause here and a little bit of applause there, and then somebody pops up like John German, more people know him, and then Mark Maloney, and more people know him, and as they get closer to the current day, a little more applause. But when they got to Jennifer Jones, the convention space erupted. It was deafening. And it wasn't because she was a woman. It was because of the impact she had on casting a vision for women and young girls and cancer survivors, by the way. So it is that impact will change the world for the next 5 generations. So we are in the world-changing business. When you go out and some people say, I want to be connected, COVID has broken all of us from our connections. We have a true safe place to be connected. If somebody says, I just want to serve and change the world, you can do that right here from Fayetteville and still change the world. We have such a blessing with our Rotary membership. It is unreal. Rotary has blessed my life in ways I'll never be able to measure. I told you this story about how Kathy and I went to dinner and I was invited to be a Rotarian. I think that might have helped her marry me, I'm not sure, but it didn't hurt. So I wouldn't be married. I certainly wouldn't be standing here talking to you because I wouldn't be a Rotarian. But if it wasn't for that impact of that child changing my life through a service project, I certainly wouldn't be a leader in Rotary. So Rotary has changed my life, made me better in every way that I can think of. So I always ask myself, how can I share this blessing with more people? Not how can I ask them to join Rotary, how can I share a blessing of joining Rotary? So I ask you all, how many of you serve in a way other than Rotary? Okay, if you have a membership chair in the room, you just had your first membership drive. As you're serving with somebody else on your left and your right, making an impact in your community, they already have a servant heart. Ask them if they want to join you in serving and give them the same blessing that we have all had through our Rotary experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Don't go too far away. Now, somewhere out in the room, I sat down the hog on a cog. Does somebody see where that is right now? Where did that wind up? I came in and got distracted and set it down. Now, who's hiding it? Because I know I sat it on a table. Okay, well, where did it go? Really? It was right there and now it's gone. It's a mystery. John, thank you for coming. We'll find the hog on a cog and I will present it to you. It's lovely and I can't wait for you to have it. You could mount it to your motorhome or thank you for the time. Thank you for the information about Rotary. Guys, that's all we have today. John, are you sticking around for a couple of minutes after the meeting? Okay, John will be here if you want to talk to him. We are adjourned.
Okay, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
John.